The cargo ship Eternal Horizon floated through empty space like a giant metal whale. Inside the ship, Captain Velthar sat in his command chair and looked at the screen in front of him. His purple skin wrinkled as he frowned. The Galactic Trade Consortium had sent him a message 3 days ago. They wanted him to take on a human crew member for this trip. Velthar did not like humans. They were strange creatures who came from a dangerous planet. But he had no choice. The consortium paid well and he needed the money. The airlock door opened with a hissing sound. Velthar stood up and walked to the entrance area. His crew gathered behind him. There was Orth, the big Vraxian warrior with 4 thick arms. There was Krell, the insect-like Chitauri who worked in engineering. There was Mix, the floating jellyfish creature who managed communications. All of them watched as the new human stepped inside. Daesung was not very tall for a human. He had short black hair and dark eyes. He wore a simple gray uniform with a patch that showed he worked for the Trade Consortium. But what caught everyone's attention was the small box he carried. It was a pet carrier, and through the metal bars 2 green eyes stared out at the alien crew. "Greetings, Captain," Daesung said. He spoke in standard Galactic, though his accent was thick. "I am Daesung, your new liaison officer. Thank you for accepting me on board." Velthar crossed his arms. "What is that thing you are carrying?" Daesung smiled and set the carrier down on the floor. He opened the door and a small gray cat stepped out. The creature was tiny, barely the size of a human infant. Its fur was striped with darker gray lines. Its tail stood straight up as it walked. The cat looked around at all the aliens with calm green eyes, then sat down and began to lick its paw. "This is Bori," Daesung said. "She is my cat. My companion. Where I go, she goes." For a moment there was complete silence. Then Orth started to laugh. It was a deep, booming sound that shook the walls. Soon all the other crew members joined in. Even Velthar could not help but smile. "That is your protection?" Orth said between laughs. He slapped his forearms against his chest, making loud thumping sounds. "That tiny thing? We have baby larvae that are more dangerous than that." Krell clicked his mandibles together, which was how his species laughed. "I could step on it by accident. How does it even survive?" Daesung picked up Bori gently and held her against his chest. The cat did not seem bothered by the laughter. She just yawned, showing tiny white fangs, then closed her eyes. "Bori is family," Daesung said quietly. "She comes with me." Velthar waved his hand. Fine. Keep your tiny beast, but it stays in your quarters. I do not want it running around my ship causing problems." He turned to Orth. "Show him to his room." Over the next few days, Daesung learned his way around the ship. His job was simple. He had to make sure all the cargo was properly recorded. He had to check that nothing illegal was being smuggled. He had to write reports for the Trade Consortium. It was boring work, but Daesung did it carefully. But everywhere he went, Bori went with him. The small cat would sit on his shoulder as he walked through the corridors. She would sleep on his desk while he typed reports. She would follow him to the cafeteria during meals. And everywhere they went, the crew laughed at them. "Look at the human and his tiny friend," Mix would say, its tentacles waving with amusement. "Does it protect you from dust particles?" Krell would joke. "I once saw it jump at a shadow on the wall," Orth told everyone at dinner one night. "It is afraid of shadows. How can such a weak creature survive?" There was another human on the ship. His name was Hyunwoo, and he had been working on the Eternal Horizon for 6 months. He was older than Daesung, with gray hair at his temples. Hyunwoo worked in the cargo bay, managing the loading systems. When he saw Bori for the first time, he smiled but said nothing. One evening, Daesung sat in the common area with Bori on his lap. He was reading something on his datapad when Hyunwoo sat down across from him. "They make fun of your cat," Hyunwoo said in Korean. It felt good for Daesung to hear his own language. "Yes," Daesung replied, also in Korean. "They think she is useless, weak." Hyunwoo smiled and shook his head. "They do not understand. They have never been to Earth. They do not know what cats really are." What do you mean?" "Let them laugh," Hyunwoo said. "They will learn. Cats are survivors. Cats are hunters. Just because Bori is small does not mean she is harmless." He stood up and patted Daesung on the shoulder. "Keep her close. She is more valuable than you know." Daesung thought about those words as he returned to his quarters that night. Bori trotted beside him, her tail high. When they reached his room, she jumped up onto his bed and started to groom herself. She licked her paw and rubbed it over her ears. She cleaned her whiskers. She looked like the most peaceful creature in the galaxy. But Dae-sung remembered something his grandmother had told him when he was young. She had owned many cats in her long life. A cat is a tiger in miniature, she had said. Never forget that. They are predators. They are hunters. They just choose to love us. Dae-sung lay down on his bed and Bori immediately climbed onto his chest. She circled 3 times, then settled down. Her purring sounded like a small motor running. It was a comforting sound. Dae-sung put his hand on her soft fur and felt her warmth. They laugh at you, little one, he whispered in Korean. But I know what you are. I know what you can do. Bori opened one green eye and looked at him. Then she closed it again and purred louder. Outside his room, Dae-sung could hear the crew talking and laughing. Someone made another joke about the tiny human pet. Everyone thought it was funny. Everyone thought Bori was just a weak, useless animal that humans kept around for no good reason. But Dae-sung knew better. He had grown up with cats. He had seen them hunt. He had seen them move like shadows. He had seen them kill rats twice their size with one quick bite. Cats were perfect hunters. They were patient. They were fast. They were deadly. Bori was all of those things. She just hid it well. As Dae-sung drifted off to sleep, Bori stayed awake a little longer. Her ears moved, listening to every sound in the ship. Her nose twitched, smelling everything. Her eyes opened occasionally to check the shadows in the corners of the room. She was a cat, and cats were always watching. Always waiting. Always ready. The crew of the Eternal Horizon would learn this lesson soon enough. But for now they laughed and made their jokes. For now they thought the tiny gray cat was the funniest thing they had ever seen. They had no idea how wrong they were. The Eternal Horizon traveled through space for 5 more days before reaching Station Kivar 9. The station was old and dirty. It orbited a dead planet that no one cared about anymore. But the station was perfect for people who wanted to do business away from the law. Smugglers came here. Pirates came here. Criminals of all species came here to trade and make deals. Captain Velthar had been to Kivar 9 many times before. He knew its dark corridors and its dangerous bars. He also knew that he owed money to some very bad people. The debt had been growing for 3 years now. Every time he came to the station, he worried that someone would come to collect. When the ship docked, Velthar told his crew they could have shore leave. Most of them rushed off the ship immediately. Even Dae-sung left to explore, though he made sure Bori stayed safe in his locked quarters with plenty of food and water. Only a few crew members stayed behind to guard the ship. Velthar walked through the station's main level, passing shops that sold weapons and drugs. He went down to the lower levels where the lights were dimmer and the air smelled bad. Finally, he reached a bar called the Broken Fang. It was a place where deals were made in whispers. He ordered a drink and sat in a dark corner. He had only taken 2 sips when a figure in a black hooded robe sat down across from him. Velthar could not see the face under the hood, but he recognized the symbol on the robe. It was the mark of the Venris Syndicate. These were the people he owed money to. Captain Velthar, the figure said in a raspy voice. You have been avoiding us. Velthar's hand tightened on his glass. I have not been avoiding you. I am working. I will have your money soon. Soon is not good enough. The figure leaned forward. You owe us 60,000 credits. You have owed us for 3 years. Our patience is gone. I need more time. Just 1 more month. I have a big cargo run coming. No. The figure slammed a hand on the table. Other customers in the bar looked over, then quickly looked away. No one wanted trouble with the syndicate. We are done waiting, but we are not unreasonable. We have a way for you to clear your debt. Velthar felt a small bit of hope. What do you want me to do? The hooded figure pulled out a small container made of dark metal. It was about the size of a human fist. Through the clear top, Velthar could see something moving inside. It was a creature with black scales and red eyes. It looked like a snake but had 6 legs and a tail covered in spines. This is a Fangbeast, the figure explained. A juvenile one. It comes from the death world of Vex Prime. Do you know what makes it special? Velthar shook his head. For the past 8 weeks, we have been feeding it nether venom. Every day a little bit more. The poison has soaked into its body. Now everything about this creature is toxic. Its bite, its scratch, even its blood. If it bites someone, they will not die right away. First, they will feel very tired. They will sleep deeply. Then over the next 3 or 4 days, the poison will shut down their organs one by one. And here's the best part, the figure tapped the container. Standard medical scanners cannot detect nether venom. It looks like natural organ failure, like the person just got sick and died. Velthar stared at the creature. His mouth felt dry. What do you want me to do with it? You have humans on your ship, yes? 2 of them. The trade consortium has been putting humans on more and more ships. This is bad for our business. Humans ask too many questions. They follow too many rules. They report things that should stay unreported. We want to send a message. We want other humans to think twice before taking positions on cargo ships in this sector. You want me to kill them? Velthar said slowly. We want you to let nature take its course. The figure pushed the container across the table. Release this Fangbeast in the human quarters. It will hide. It will wait. When the humans sleep, it will bite them. They will die, and no one will be able to prove it was anything but bad luck, an accident, a random creature that somehow got on board the ship. These things happen in space. Velthar looked at the container. His hands were shaking. And if I do this, my debt is cleared? Completely. You will owe us nothing. You can go back to your normal business. He should have said no. He should have walked away. But 60,000 credits was a fortune, and the people sitting across from him were not the kind of people who accepted refusal. If he said no, they would probably kill him right here in this bar. No one would care. No one would investigate. Velthar reached out and took the container. It was warm to the touch. Inside, the Fangbeast pressed against the clear top, its red eyes staring at him. Make it look natural, the figure said. Release it when no one is watching. Let it find its own way to the humans. Then forget this conversation ever happened. The figure stood up and walked away, disappearing into the dark corridors of the station. Velthar sat alone for a long time, staring at the creature in the container. He thought about the 2 humans on his ship. Daesung, the new liaison with his ridiculous cat. Hyunwoo, the cargo worker who had always been respectful and hardworking. Neither of them had done anything wrong. They were just doing their jobs, but 60,000 credits, and his life. Velthar finished his drink and left the bar. He kept the container hidden under his coat as he walked back to the ship. Most of the crew were still on the station, drinking and gambling. Only a few guards were on board. Velthar waited until the guards were busy in the cargo bay, then made his way to the crew quarters. The human rooms were on the 3rd level. Daesung's door was the first one. Velthar checked the corridor to make sure no one was watching. His heart beat fast. His hands shook as he pulled out the container. He used his captain's override code to open the door. Inside, the room was dark and quiet. Daesung was still on the station somewhere. The only thing in the room was that stupid cat sleeping on the bed. The gray creature's sides moved up and down with slow breaths. Velthar opened the container. The Fangbeast immediately crawled out and dropped onto the floor. It moved fast, its 6 legs carrying it under the bed where it disappeared into the shadows. The creature knew how to hide. It had instincts that told it to wait, to be patient, to strike when prey was sleeping. Velthar watched for a moment. The cat on the bed had not moved. It was still asleep, completely unaware of the deadly creature now hiding just below it. He backed out of the room and closed the door quietly. As he walked away, he told himself he had no choice. He told himself it was just business. He told himself the humans would not suffer long, but his hands kept shaking. Up on the bed, Bori opened one green eye. She had not been asleep at all. Cats rarely sleep as deeply as they appear to. They are always aware, always listening, always ready. She had heard the door open. She had heard footsteps. She had heard something small and alive drop onto the floor. Now she lifted her head and looked around the room. Her nose twitched. She could smell something wrong. Something dangerous. Something that did not belong. Under the bed, the Fangbeast settled into the darkest corner. It coiled its body and waited. Its red eyes glowed faintly in the darkness. Soon the human would return. Soon the human would sleep. And then it would strike. But the Fangbeast did not know it had made a terrible mistake. It had entered a territory that belonged to something much more dangerous than itself. It had entered a cat's domain, and cats do not share their territory with anything. Daesung walked back to the ship 4 hours later. He had explored the station and bought some supplies. Mostly he had bought treats for Bori. The station had a shop that sold food from different worlds, and he found dried fish that smelled like the kind his cat loved. He also bought a new toy, a small ball with feathers attached to it. As he walked through the ship's corridors, he felt tired. Station Kivar 9 was not a pleasant place. The air was stale. The people were rough and unfriendly. He would be happy when the ship left and continued its journey. He reached his quarters and pressed his hand against the door panel. The lock beeped and the door slid open. Inside, everything looked normal. The lights were dim, just as he had left them. His datapad sat on the small desk. His spare uniform hung on the wall. And on the bed, Bori sat up and meowed at him. "Hello, girl," Daesung said with a smile. He walked over and scratched behind her ears. Bori pushed her head against his hand and purred.
"Did you miss me?"
"I brought you something." He pulled out the dried fish and gave her a piece. Bori sniffed it carefully, then took it in her mouth and jumped down to the floor to eat it. She was very particular about where she ate her food. She always liked to be on the ground where she could see all around her. Daesung changed out of his station clothes and into comfortable sleeping clothes. He brushed his teeth in the tiny bathroom. He set an alarm on his datapad for the morning. Then he climbed into bed and pulled the thin blanket over himself. "Come on, Bori," he called softly. "Bedtime." But Bori did not come. She sat on the floor near the desk, staring at the space under the bed. Her tail was low. Her ears were pointed forward. She made a small chittering sound, the kind of sound cats make when they see birds or prey animals. "What are you looking at?" Daesung asked. He leaned over the side of the bed and looked at the floor. He could not see anything in the darkness under the bed. "Is there a bug?" "You are being silly." Bori did not move. She kept staring. Daesung yawned. He was too tired to worry about his cat's strange behavior. Sometimes she acted weird for no reason. That was just how cats were. He lay back down and closed his eyes. Within 5 minutes, he was asleep. His breathing became slow and deep. His body relaxed completely. He did not hear the small sounds in the room. He did not see Bori's eyes grow wide and black in the darkness. Under the bed, the Fangbeast had been waiting for this moment. It could sense the human sleeping above it. It could hear the heartbeat slow and steady. It could smell the warm blood. All of its instincts told it to strike now while the prey was helpless. The creature slowly uncurled its body. Its 6 legs moved carefully, making no sound. It crawled out from under the bed, staying close to the wall. Its red eyes locked onto the human's hand, which hung over the side of the bed. That hand was perfect. One bite and the venom would spread through the bloodstream. The human would never wake up. The Fangbeast opened its mouth. Its fangs, each the size of a small needle, dripped with concentrated poison. It tensed its body, preparing to leap. It never saw Bori move. One moment the cat was sitting by the desk. The next moment she was in the air, her body stretched long, her front legs extended with claws out. She moved with speed that seemed impossible for such a small creature. There was no sound. No warning. Just sudden explosive action. Bori hit the Fangbeast in mid-leap. Her front claws dug into its scaled back. Her back legs kicked at its body, raking with sharp claws. The Fangbeast tried to twist around, tried to bite her, but Bori was too fast. She had done this before many times with many different prey. Her ancestors had hunted for millions of years. Every instinct, every movement was perfect. Her teeth found the back of the Fangbeast's head. She bit down hard, right where the skull met the spine. This was the killing bite. This was the bite that every cat knew from birth. The Fangbeast thrashed wildly. Its tail whipped back and forth. Its legs scrambled for purchase on the smooth floor. Bori bit down harder and shook her head violently. Left, right, left, right. The movement was brutal and efficient. She had killed rats this way back on Earth. She had killed birds this way. Size did not matter. The technique was the same. The Fangbeast's movements became weaker. Its tail stopped whipping. Its legs stopped scrambling. Within 30 seconds of the attack starting, the creature was dead. Bori held on for a few more seconds, making sure. Then she opened her jaws and dropped the body onto the floor. She sat down next to her kill and stared at it. Her sides moved in and out quickly. Hunting was hard work, even for a perfect predator like her. She sniffed the dead Fangbeast carefully. Something about it smelled wrong. The smell of poison, the smell of danger. Her instincts told her not to eat this prey. Instead, she began to groom herself. She licked her paws and cleaned them carefully. She washed her face. She cleaned the Fangbeast's blood from her whiskers. Grooming after a hunt was important. It kept her clean. It kept her ready for the next hunt. On the bed above her, Daesung continued to sleep. He had no idea what had just happened. He dreamed peaceful dreams, completely unaware that something had tried to kill him, completely unaware that his small cat had saved his life. After Bori finished grooming, she looked up at the bed. She could hear her human slow breathing. She could smell his familiar scent. He was safe now. The threat was gone. She had done her job. She jumped up onto the bed, landing softly on the blanket. She walked up Daesung's body until she reached his chest. There she turned in 3 circles, the way cats always do before settling down. Then she lay down and curled into a small ball of gray fur. Her purr started immediately. It was a deep rumbling sound that came from her chest. The vibration of it could be felt where her body touched Daesung's. Scientists had studied cat purrs for years and discovered they had healing properties. The frequency helped bones grow stronger. It reduced stress. It made humans feel safe and loved. Bori purred louder. She was content. Her territory was safe. Her human was safe. She had hunted well. This was a good night. Down on the floor, the dead Fangbeast lay in the darkness. Its red eyes were now dull and lifeless. The poison in its body would never harm anyone. The creature that was supposed to be a perfect silent killer had been killed itself by something much more perfect. Hours passed. The ship's night cycle continued. Most of the crew were still on the station. Only the guards remained, and they stayed in the cargo bay, playing games and telling stories. No one walked past Daesung's door. No one heard anything unusual. As morning approached, Bori finally fell asleep too. But even in sleep, one of her ears stayed turned toward the door. Even in sleep, part of her brain stayed alert. This was how cats survived. This was how they had become one of Earth's most successful predators. They never fully let their guard down. Never completely relaxed, always ready for the next threat. Always prepared to protect what was theirs, and Daesung was hers. He fed her. He petted her. He spoke to her in soft words. He was her human and she was his cat. That bond meant everything. It meant she would kill anything that tried to hurt him. The crew of the Eternal Horizon still thought Bori was just a silly pet. They still thought she was useless and weak. They still made jokes about the tiny cat that was afraid of shadows. Soon, very soon, they would learn the truth. They would learn what cats really were. They would learn why humans had chosen to share their homes with these small predators. But for now, Bori slept peacefully on Daesung's chest. Her work done, her human safe. And that was all that mattered to her. The alarm went off at 0600 hours. Loud bells rang through the entire ship. It was not the normal wake-up alarm. This was the emergency alarm. Something was very wrong. Daesung jumped out of bed, his heart racing. Bori tumbled off his chest with an annoyed meow. She did not like being woken up suddenly. Daesung quickly pulled on his uniform and rushed to the door. As he ran out, he nearly stepped on something on the floor. He looked down and saw it. The dead Fangbeast. For a moment, he just stared at it. His brain could not understand what he was seeing. That was a Fangbeast. He knew what they were. Everyone in space knew about Fangbeasts. They came from death worlds. They were poisonous. They were dangerous. And one was lying dead on his floor, but the alarm was still ringing. He had to find out what was happening. He would deal with the dead creature later. He ran out into the corridor and joined other crew members rushing toward the captain's quarters. When he arrived, he found Hyunwoo kneeling on the floor outside Captain Velthar's room. The door was open. Inside, Velthar lay on his bed, his purple skin now pale and covered in sweat. His breathing was shallow and fast. "What happened?" Daesung asked. Hyunwoo looked up. His face was grim. "I found him like this when I came to report for duty. He is poisoned. Nether venom, I think. The medical scanner is having trouble identifying it, but I recognize the symptoms." Orth pushed through the crowd of crew members. "Poisoned? How? Who would poison the captain?" "I do not know," Hyunwoo said. "But we need to get him to the medical bay immediately. Krell, help me carry him." As they lifted Velthar's body, the captain's eyes opened slightly. He looked directly at Daesung. There was something in that look. Fear. Guilt. Regret. Then his eyes closed again. Daesung felt something cold in his stomach. He turned and ran back to his quarters. When he got there, he locked the door behind him and turned on all the lights. The dead Fangbeast was still on the floor. Now he could see it clearly. Its black scales. Its red eyes, now dull. Its 6 legs. Its spine-covered tail. He knelt down and looked at it closely. He did not touch it. He had learned about Fangbeasts in his training. If this one had been fed nether venom, even touching it could be dangerous. He looked at the back of its head. There were clear bite marks there. Small bite marks, cat-sized bite marks. Bori sat on the bed watching him. She licked her paw casually as if nothing unusual had happened. "You did this," Daesung whispered. "You killed it," Bori meowed and continued grooming. Daesung's hands were shaking. He pulled out his communicator and called Hyunwoo. "You need to come to my quarters. Right now. And bring a medical scanner." 5 minutes later, Hyunwoo arrived with the ship's portable medical scanner. He stepped into the room and stopped when he saw the Fangbeast. "By the stars," he breathed. "How did that get on the ship?" "I do not know," Daesung said. "I went to sleep last night. Everything was normal. This morning I found it dead on my floor." Hyunwoo knelt down and scanned the creature with the medical device. The screen lit up with data. His face grew darker as he read it. "This Fangbeast has been fed nether venom for weeks, maybe months. Its entire body is toxic. If it had bitten you, you would be dead in 3 days. But it did not bite me. Why?" Hyunwoo looked at the bite marks on the creature's head. Then he looked at Bori, who was now cleaning her face with both paws. He started to smile. "Your cat killed it. Before it could attack you." "That is impossible. Bori is just a cat. A small cat. How could she kill something this dangerous?" "Because she is from Earth," Hyunwoo said simply. He stood up and walked over to Bori. He reached out slowly and gently scratched under her chin. Bori purred and pushed her head against his hand. "People forget what Earth is. They see humans and think we are weak because we do not have fangs or claws or armor. But we come from one of the most dangerous planets in the known galaxy. Everything on Earth is either a predator or prey. And cats are predators. Perfect predators." Daesung sat down on the bed. His legs felt weak. "She saved my life." "Yes, and I do not think it was an accident that this Fangbeast ended up in your room. Someone put it here. Someone who wanted you dead." They looked at each other. The same thought occurred to both of them at the same time. "The captain," they said together. Word spread through the ship quickly. By midday, every crew member knew about the Fangbeast in Daesung's room. They knew that the tiny cat they had all laughed at had killed it. They knew that Captain Velthar had been poisoned by his own allies to keep him quiet. The crew gathered in the common area. Daesung stood in the center with Bori in his arms. The cat looked around at all the alien faces staring at her. She seemed completely unbothered by the attention. "I do not understand," Orth said. His voice was different now. There was no mockery in it. Only confusion and something like respect. That creature was a Fangbeast. They are apex predators from Vex Prime. How did your small pet kill it? She is not a pet, Hyunwoo said. He had taken temporary command of the ship after Velthar's arrest. The station security had come and taken the captain away. He would face trial for attempted murder. Not really. Humans call cats pets, but that is not accurate. Cats are partners, companions. They choose to live with us, but they have never been tamed. Not truly. He walked to the center of the room and stood next to Daesung. Let me tell you about Earth. Our planet has more predator species than almost any other world in the galaxy. We have big cats that can kill prey 10 times their size. We have snakes that can swallow animals whole. We have spiders, wolves, bears, sharks, crocodiles. Our planet is a constant battle for survival. And cats? Mix asked, his tentacles waving with curiosity. Cats are perfect hunters, Hyunwoo continued. They have reflexes faster than almost any creature their size. They have claws that can extend and retract. They have teeth designed for the killing bite. They can see in near darkness. They can hear sounds we cannot. They can jump 6 times their own height. And, most importantly, they have instincts refined over millions of years of evolution. He pointed at Bori. This cat weighs maybe 4 kilograms. But in her genetic memory, she carries the knowledge of how to hunt, how to kill, how to survive. When that Fangbeast entered her territory being Daesung's room, she did not hesitate. She did not need to think. Her instincts took over. She became what she truly is, a predator. The crew was silent. They all looked at Bori with new eyes. The small gray cat yawned and showed her tiny fangs. Those fangs did not look so tiny anymore. I am sorry, Orth said quietly. He stepped forward and bowed his head to Daesung. I laughed at you. I laughed at your companion. I did not understand. I thought she was weak. I was wrong. One by one, other crew members stepped forward. They apologized. They admitted they had been foolish. They asked if they could touch Bori, as if she was now something sacred. Daesung let them pet her gently. Bori accepted the attention with regal calm, purring when someone scratched the right spot behind her ears. Later that evening, a crew member appeared at Daesung's door carrying a package. "I made this," Krell said shyly. "For Bori." Inside the package was a beautiful climbing structure made from rare metals. It had multiple levels, soft bedding, and toys attached to strings. It must have taken hours to build. "Thank you," Daesung said. "She will love it." More gifts arrived over the next few hours. Treats from different worlds, soft blankets, a water fountain, even a small cushion that heated itself. The crew was trying to show their respect the only way they knew how. That night, Daesung sat in his quarters with Bori on his lap. She purred contentedly, unaware that she had become famous. Unaware that her story would spread to other ships, other stations. Unaware that she had changed how an entire ship's crew viewed cats and humans forever. "You are a good girl," Daesung whispered to her in Korean. "The best girl. You saved my life." Bori purred louder and closed her eyes. She did not understand the words, but she understood the tone. She understood love, and that was enough. 3 weeks passed since the incident on Station Kiver 9. The Eternal Horizon continued its journey through space, carrying cargo from system to system. But everything on the ship had changed. Velthar was gone. Station security had taken him away in restraints. He would spend years in a prison colony, paying for his crime. The Venris Syndicate members who had given him the Fangbeast were also arrested. It turned out that station security had been watching them for months, waiting for them to make a mistake. Trying to kill a trade consortium officer was a big mistake. Hyunwoo was now the captain of the ship. The trade consortium had reviewed his record and approved the promotion. He was a good captain, fair and smart. The crew respected him, but the biggest change was how everyone treated Bori. The small gray cat was no longer a joke. She was no longer something to laugh at. When she walked through the corridors, crew members moved aside respectfully. When she entered a room, conversation stopped. When she sat down to groom herself, people watched in quiet amazement. The story of how she killed the poisoned Fangbeast had spread beyond the ship. Every time they docked at a station, crew members would go to bars and tell the tale. Other spacers would listen with wide eyes. Some believed the story. Others thought it was exaggerated. But everyone remembered it. One evening, the ship docked at a large trading station called Meridian Hub. It was a clean, well-lit station where legal business happened. While the crew unloaded cargo, Daesung decided to take a walk. He brought Bori with him, as always. She sat on his shoulder like she owned the universe. As they walked through the station's market area, Daesung noticed something strange. People were staring at them, not just looking, but really staring. A group of young Kryn traders pointed at Bori and whispered to each other. A Vraxian merchant left his shop and walked over. "Excuse me," the merchant said. "Is that the cat? The one from the Eternal Horizon?" Daesung was confused. "Yes, this is Bori. Why?" "The story has spread far," the merchant said. "About the human's small feline that killed a poisoned Fangbeast. Many did not believe it, but now I see her with my own eyes." He reached out slowly as if asking permission. "May I?" Daesung nodded. The merchant gently touched Bori's head. The cat allowed it, purring softly. The merchant's eyes grew wide. Such a small thing, but such great spirit. You are blessed to have such a companion. This happened 3 more times as they walked through the station. Each time someone would recognize Bori and ask to meet her. Some brought gifts, small treats. Tiny toys. One elderly Chitauri woman even gave Daesung a blessing in her native language, touching Bori's head with her mandibles. When Daesung returned to the ship, he found Hyunwoo in the captain's office. He told him about what happened on the station. Hyunwoo smiled. "I am not surprised. The story has reached the Trade Consortium headquarters. They asked me to write an official report about what happened. I think they want to study it." "Study what? Bori?" "No, not Bori specifically, but they..." want to understand the relationship between humans and their companion animals better. For years, other species have thought humans were strange for keeping predators as pets. But your cat proved something important. She proved that this relationship is not just about companionship. It is about partnership, protection, mutual benefit. Hyunwoo leaned back in his chair. Think about it. Dogs protect human homes. They guard our children. They help us hunt. Cats kill pests. They protect our food supplies from rats. They even kill venomous snakes and spiders. Humans are not strange for living with predators. We are smart. We recognized useful allies and we made peace with them. Now they protect us. And we protect them. Daesung scratched Bori's ears. She had fallen asleep on his lap. She is more than an ally, though. She is family. Yes, Hyunwoo agreed. And that is what makes humans truly special. We do not just see things as tools or resources. We see them as friends, as family. That is why other species will never fully understand us. They think in terms of hierarchy and dominance. We think in terms of bonds and love. The weeks turned into months. The Eternal Horizon traveled to dozens of systems. Everywhere they went, the story followed them. Crew members from other ships would visit just to see Bori. Some brought their own pets from their homeworlds, wanting to show that they also understood the bond between species. A Vraxian warrior brought his battle-scarred hunting beast, which was the size of a small horse. The two animals sniffed each other cautiously, then ignored each other in the way that predators do when they have no reason to fight. One day, the ship received a special delivery. It was a package from Earth. Inside was a letter from the Earth Feline Association. They had heard about Bori's heroic deed. They wanted to give her an award. There was a medal made from real Earth steel, engraved with Bori's name and the words, Defender. Hunter Friend. There was also a special certificate that declared her an ambassador of Earth felines to the galaxy. Daesung laughed when he read it. He showed the medal to Bori. She sniffed it once, then walked away to take a nap in her favorite sunny spot. She did not care about medals or fame. She cared about food, warmth, and her human. That was all. But Daesung put the medal on the wall of his quarters. It meant something to him, even if it did not mean anything to Bori. More humans started bringing cats on ships. The Trade Consortium changed its rules to allow companion animals more easily. They had seen the evidence. Animals like Bori could protect their humans in ways that technology could not. A cat could hear things that sensors missed. They could smell things that machines could not detect. They could react faster than any alarm system. Other species started to understand this too. Some began bringing their own companion animals from their homeworlds. The galaxy became a little more connected because of one small gray cat. One quiet night, months after the incident, Daesung sat in the observation deck. Through the large window, he could see the stars stretching out forever. Bori lay on his lap, purring as he stroked her soft fur. Ji-woo entered the room and sat down next to them. She had become good friends with Daesung over the months. Do you ever think about what would have happened if you had not brought Bori? She asked. Every day, Daesung admitted. I would be dead. That Fangbeast would have killed me in my sleep. I would never have known what happened. But you did bring her, and now you are alive. And now everyone knows what cats really are. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, watching the stars. Finally, Ji-woo spoke again. My family back on Earth has a cat. His name is Toto. He is old and fat and sleeps 20 hours a day. But when I was a little girl, he once killed a snake that got into our house. The snake was poisonous. It could have killed my baby brother. But Toto killed it before anyone even knew it was there. Cats have always protected us. We just forget sometimes. The galaxy will not forget now, Daesung said. Not after Bori. More time passed. The Eternal Horizon completed its contract with the Trade Consortium. Hyunwoo decided to buy the ship and start his own independent trading company. He offered jobs to the entire crew. Everyone accepted. They had become like a family. Daesung stayed on as the first officer. Bori stayed too, of course. She had her own spot on the bridge now. a special heated bed where she could watch everything that happened. When important visitors came aboard, they always asked to meet her. She would allow them to pet her for a few moments, then return to her nap. Years later, when people talked about the eternal horizon, they always mentioned Bori. Songs were written about the tiny hunter. Children on different worlds heard bedtime stories about the brave cat who saved her human. Some of the stories were exaggerated. Some said Bori fought a dozen Fangbeasts. Others said she was as big as a dog. But the core truth remained the same. A small Earth cat had done something remarkable. She had protected her family. She had proven that size does not determine strength. She had shown the galaxy that Earth's creatures should never be underestimated. And through it all, Bori remained Bori. She did not know she was famous. She did not know she had changed attitudes across dozens of star systems. She only knew that she had a human who fed her, petted her, and spoke to her in soft words. She only knew that she had a warm place to sleep and plenty of sunlight. She only knew that life was good. On Earth, millions of other cats continued their ancient partnership with humans. They hunted mice in barns. They killed spiders in homes. They guarded babies from dangers their parents could not see. They did what cats had always done. They protected their families. They asked for nothing except food, shelter, and occasional affection. And in return, humans loved them. Humans brought them to the stars. Humans shared their lives and their homes with these small predators. It was a partnership millions of years old. It was a partnership that would continue as long as humans traveled the galaxy. Because wherever humans went, cats would follow. And wherever cats went, nothing would threaten their family without paying the price. Bori stretched on her heated bed on the bridge. She yawned, showing her small, sharp teeth. Then she curled back into a ball and went to sleep, purring softly. She had done her job. She had protected her human. And that was all that mattered. The legend of the tiny feline had begun. But for Bori, it was just another day of being a cat, and being a cat was enough.